Hey, what's up, guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and today we're going to talk about the Flash. So, this last episode of The Flash had Zoom in it, which is a really good thing. Unfortunately, he was in it just the tiniest bit, so that's not a good thing. But the rest of the episode was, again, for me, kind of blah. I feel like they're kind of stagnant this half of the season so far. It's way too heavily focusing on Wally. He's not a likable character thus far. I mean, sure, he did make some progress this episode. I don't know about you guys, but I find him entirely unlikable. He's mad at Joe, who had no idea he even existed. It's not Joe's fault, it was Wally's mom's fault. So I don't get that. And for me, Joe's a really likable character, so the fact that Wally doesn't like him makes him even less likable. So that was no good. And then Iris, throughout this entire episode, was really annoying. She's constantly telling Wally what to do, don't do this, don't do that. Then she goes to this bad guy's hideout, or his racing hideout, whatever, it's not a hideout, but you know what I'm talking about. And then she threatens him, well, I'm a reporter, and I'll publish this if you don't stop. Like he cares. He doesn't care what some dumb reporter has to say. Some no-name reporter from a tiny newspaper. It's like, the whole thing was just annoying. I didn't like any of that at all. However, the saving grace, which is almost always the case with this show, because these characters I think are the best by far in any of the superhero shows. We have Barry, Cisco, and Wells. Great casting, great act. I love everything about these characters. Cisco was funny as always, so that's always a good thing. Barry did a good job. They're just completely done with the Patty thing, I guess. I mean, they referenced her a little bit, but not enough to worry about, so that's okay. As irritating as that segment was, that's done with, I guess, for now. So that's good. And then the whole thing with Wells, dealing with Zoom, and this is where the Zoom part comes back in. So if you guys aren't up to date, Wells is dealing with Zoom because Zoom has Wells' daughter. And he says, if you don't do what I want, then I'm going to kill your daughter. And what he wants is for Wells to steal Barry's speed. So Wells is regretfully working with Zoom. So this episode, Wells creates a device to steal or to start sapping some of Barry's speed, which he does. And Barry ends up being slower than he normally is, even though it's just by a small fraction, like 2%. It's slow enough to cause problems for Barry, and it's starting to affect him adversely outside of just being slower. So Wells is starting to realize maybe this isn't what I should be doing, even though my daughter is at risk. I need to kind of do the right thing here anyway and hope and count on Barry doing what he can to help. So that's what happens is Wells does do the thing for Zoom, and he gives it to Zoom, and Zoom has this really sweet, though very short scene where he does take some of Barry's speed, and there's blue lightning everywhere, and it's just so cool. I'm telling you guys, there are a few things on TV that I've seen that are as cool as the way they're handling Zoom here. It's just so nicely done. I love it. I want him to be in every episode, half the time at least. But anyway, that's really cool. And then Wells gets a little lippy with Zoom, and Zoom's like, hey, remember who I am. And so Wells is like, okay, you're right, I remember now. So that happens, but then Wells does realize that he shouldn't be doing this to Barry and that he will count on them to help him. So he tells them, hey, guys, this is what happened. So they all get pissed off, and Joe turns into a badass and starts punching everybody. Well, he punches Wells, and then he punches, we'll get to the other thing in a minute. So they put him in a cell, and they're like, okay, well, you're a bad guy now, so you're going to not work with us. And they're going to send him back. He says, send me back. You'll be done with Zoom. You'll be done with me. That's fine. Then they all realize, no, he's part of our team. He can help us. He didn't have to tell us. He didn't have to stop, but he did. So he's a good guy. Let's work together. Everybody's happy. Wells is back on the team. A lot of good moments between Wells and Barry, so I really like that. The science, maybe not the best again, but it's comic book science, so that's okay. So we're not even going to touch on that. Now we can touch on the weekly villain, and it's just going to be brief, and then we'll be done. But the weekly villain is Tar Pit. Now, I don't know if he's a comic book character. It seems like he is. He's not a big one if he is. It was handled well enough. It was very much just there to give us that weekly villain. It didn't really progress the story too much. It didn't do much of anything other than have a weekly villain. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It tied into everything, so that was kind of good the way they tied this villain in with the guy that Iris was talking to, who ties into Wally. So in that sense, it was good. It was just Not bad, not great. The CGI was okay. More iffy signs. With Tar Pit at one point, it's mostly just a guy with like black stuff on him, and he can turn his hand into tar and suffocate or smother people with it. But then at the end, he's all big and like Clayface, and they come up with this device to stop him. So they do, and then once he just explodes, the kid's just laying there like normal. So that was kind of weird, but whatever. It's not a big deal. So it was overall a good episode in that the Barry and Wells segments were really well done. Cisco was funny. All of that stuff was good. The main storyline was good. The part with Wally just, it needs to end. I mean, I know he's getting better each episode, but I don't like it. I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys like the whole Wally thing? I personally don't care for it at all. And what did you think about Iris? Did you guys find her as annoying this episode as I did? I know it's not... Wow, can't talk. 4 hours of sleep. Anyway, I know she had good intentions and she wasn't doing anything inherently bad or annoying. It was just something about it irked me. So let me know what you guys think. I thought it was a good episode overall. It's just those couple things bugged me. And let me know if you guys like Zoom as much as I do. I think it's totally cool. Alright guys, I'm going to stop rambling. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.